I think the rubbish you see lying around on the ground is yucky. Rubbish is yucky. When I see someone dropping litter, I get very angry because then there's junk everywhere, and a lot of tourists come here.
Today, the management of waste in Greenland faces a lot of challenges. It is therefore important that all politicians, as well as every citizen, participate actively in improving the entire waste management process. Our goal is to keep Greenland as clean as possible, that the people cooperate more, and that we Greenlanders gain a greater understanding about better management of waste, because in the end, everything we throw out will come back to us. In the bigger cities in Greenland, the waste ends up in incinerators, and here you can also find recycling stations for collecting hazardous waste.
Earlier,
the waste was just dumped in the valley and buried, and it would just be left there. Now it gets burnt, meaning you get rid of it, and at the same time, the hazardous waste, which actually is toxic and not good to burn, gets sorted. And when this gets separated out, you get a clean burning process, and you get a good environment up here. The advantages of burning waste rather than dumping it is definitely the fact that when you dispose of it, you're faced with the mess and you need a piece of land to dump the waste on. Whereas if you burn it, then you have the opportunity to produce energy, and that energy can become heat for district heating, and then you can deliver heating to a great part of the city here. For the first time, the Greenlanders' waste has been analysed, and the result is obvious. Ordinary household waste and commercial industrial waste are not adequately separated. The responsibility lies within each household and company to make sure that their waste is separated between burnable waste and hazardous waste.
Farlig affald kan være elektronik.
Hazardous waste could be electronics. It's stuff like waste oil, it's batteries, anything from a Christmas card with music to the battery of a car. It's chlorine residues from the kitchen, and nail polish remover, paint residues, and it could be cables. Basically, it's all the things that cannot burn.
Det er alle de ting, stort set, som ikke kan brænde.
Only 25% of the hazardous waste from households is delivered to the recycling stations. The rest ends up in the ordinary household waste. In Sisimiut, 700 kilos of batteries are sold in the city's shops, but unfortunately almost all the batteries end up in the household waste, and therefore in the incinerators. Well, the challenge here at the incineration plant is that there's not enough waste that gets sorted, and that means that there's chemical waste like batteries and paint residue, and chlorine residue, and electronics that all end up in the incinerator. And when we burn this, it's spread over the entire city, and this is then bad for our health. The harmful consequences of burning off hazardous waste include damage to eyesight, headaches, and allergies. In the long term, it can cause asthma, lung cancer, and heart disease. This is particularly true when children are exposed to the toxic smoke due to the lack of waste separation. If you think about waste and how to change people's habits when it comes to throwing waste into nature, one must start from scratch. We must address the kindergartens, the younger grades, youth clubs and assembly centres for the people, because it's here that information campaigns have the greatest effect.
I don't know when waste is dangerous or not dangerous. When I've used up my nail polish remover, I throw it in the ordinary garbage bin. I wish we could have a project in school about waste, so young kids learn not to throw it on the street.
A private company in Greenland has created a business in collecting, sorting and then transporting metal to Denmark for recycling. They are experts in metal. Today, in about 30 of the Greenlandic settlements, smaller furnaces are used for burning waste. Just as in the bigger cities, the individual household waste is not separated properly between ordinary burnable waste and hazardous waste. The hazardous waste ends up in the furnaces, but in the small furnaces in the settlements, the temperatures are lower than in the large incinerators, which means that more harmful gases and dust particles get spread over the houses and into the environment.
Yes, I think you could sort cans. Soda bottles and glass could be sorted, and soap containers and plastic which cannot be burned, and plastic which is harmful to burn.
When you think of waste, it is very important that each citizen, commune and village are included. Sorting hazardous waste such as batteries and paint is very important because it can ultimately be harmful to nature and the environment, and not least to our health. In Greenland, you also find successful examples of waste management. The recycling and deposit system has proven to be a great success. Today, 99% of all the glass and plastic bottles on the west coast of Greenland are recycled.
For the start-up of the factory, we ran some campaigns, such as cartoons on TV, to make people aware of the advantage of collecting these bottles and how to treat them, and not to throw it in nature and so on. And it has been effective, and it has worked. There's no doubt that the Greenlandic population want to help ensure that it is tidy and clean, and that things can be reused, and that no hazardous waste is thrown out in nature. Of this I am completely convinced.
When we've been drinking sodas, we collect the bottles and give them to my parents, and they then take them to the shops. When I have finished my soda at home, we collect them and give them to the shops.
Today, there are already a lot of young people in Greenland who are interested in learning about waste management. At the School for Building and Construction in Sisimiut, the engineering students are taught about how to improve waste management in Greenland. The young people are ready to make a difference and want to improve the existing waste systems.
What we learn in this course is primarily about technologies for handling waste and such, and also about sewage. So we learn what the consequences are when systems aren't working as they're supposed to.
You want to make people understand what you need to do with waste. If you think about batteries, then it's important to throw them in the boxes where they belong.
Learning about it in school makes me want to do something to make a difference.
I think it's disgusting seeing rubbish in nature, especially when it starts to smell. I would like it if our school learned more about what we need to do with waste. When we're out walking and I have something to throw away, I throw it in the bin.